Welcome to the Business with Beers podcast. This is the place where we help entrepreneurs expand their business, build their wealth, and generate passive income. I'm your host, Brian Beers, an entrepreneur who's on a mission to inspire growth from everyone around me. Remember that you need to take the actions others won't, and you can live the life that others don't. Please be sure to check out my weekly newsletter that now drops every Thursday. It includes one quote, one tweet, one podcast recommendation, plus some business and investing insight from me. It's short and it's sweet. My goal is to provide you with just a couple gold nuggets to help inspire your growth. Go to brianbeers.com to subscribe. Hello, everyone. I'm excited today to bring you Bill Dowd. Bill is the founder, the CEO, the president. He wears every single hat with Skedaddle Wildlife Franchise. I'm excited today to kind of hear his story. It's been around for a long time, very successful in Canada and now expanding into the US. And so welcome to the show, Bill.
Okay, great. Thanks for having me on, Brian.
Awesome. So what is Skedaddle?
Well, Skedaddle is a company that humanely removes, but more importantly, excludes urban wildlife from people's homes, sheds, decks, that type of thing. We also have a couple other revenue streams. So not only humane wildlife removal, we also do pest control. As we're at homes, we're looking for pests like ants and spiders and wasps. We do professional Christmas decorating, which is a real fun business right now we're doing. We also allow our franchisees to do attic restoration. So this is when raccoons or squirrels or bats or mice urinate, defecate in attics and destroy that insulation. We go in and suck out all that contamination, environmentally friendly cellulose insulation. And then our last revenue stream is mosquito control that we're testing out right now and be rolling out to all our franchise locations next summer. So we're excited that the Skedaddle brand is actually 5 franchise opportunities in one for a franchise owner. You know, you start with wildlife and you have all these other revenue streams. And, you know, anyone who's familiar with the franchise industry, each one of our service lines, you could go get a mosquito franchise. You can go get an attic restoration franchise. You can get a pest franchise. We offer it all, 5 revenue streams under the Skedaddle brand.
Okay. And did it start like that? Like, take me back to the origins. You know, I guess what year did you start the company, and what did it look like kind of in those early days?
Yeah, the early days, it was just myself and a truck and a pager in my childhood bedroom in my parents' home. And, you know, basically every single city we went into, we were successful. You know, being from Canada, we're in Hamilton, Ontario is where it started, a steel city, kind of like Pittsburgh, an hour outside of Toronto. It worked in Hamilton. So anything within an hour radius, we were successful. Then we expanded into Ottawa, our nation's capital, which is like 6 hours away from us in Hamilton, successful there. And then on a whim, I said, let's go to Quebec. Let's go to Montreal. You know, there's animals, you know, everywhere so far, but that was a bit of a learning experience. You know, it's a different culture in French Canada. They speak French. You know, when we talk to American candidates who are looking at buying a Skedaddle franchise, say we're more like Americans than we are with French Canada. So, and we're so close to the border. You know, we're an hour away from Buffalo, New York. I spend my winters in California. I used to play professional hockey in the U.S. So I like to say I'm almost like a dual citizen, even though I'm not Canadian and American. So we understand the American culture, and that's where our growth is. You know, we're pretty much sold out in Canada.
What did you play for the NHL, or who'd you play for?
Yeah, well, I was drafted by the New York Islanders after they won their first Stanley Cup. So I spent a few years in the minors bouncing around Michigan and Ohio and Indiana, and realized I wasn't, you know, after they kept winning Stanley Cup after Stanley Cup, I said, okay, I better try something else. Went to school, got my education, was going to be a teacher. I kind of fell into this line of work, and it was successful. That, you know, I thought, geez, there's some money here to be made. And off to the races we went.
Okay. And so then when did you start franchise in the U.S.?
We've been in the U.S. about 5 years now. You know, we wanted to take our time, develop Canada. You know, most of Canada is sold out. I mean, there's a few, you know, major cities left that we want to get some locations, but our focus right now and all our marketing efforts is towards the U.S. because we see, you know, a big major city, whether it be Philadelphia or Pittsburgh or Denver, you know, there's a 6-7 territories in there. So those empires who want to come in and own a big city and have, you know, 5 million in sales, you know, it's doable. And we're there to help them and teach them and support them to get there.
Yep. Okay.
how big? So Canada, all Canada's sold out, right? I think you mentioned before that you own a bunch of territories as corporate run, and then you've got franchisees for the rest of it. Can you like walk me through what's that breakdown?
Yeah, I still own and operate 23 of my founder locations. So, anyone's looking at building an empire, I've done that. Some of my operations are like in Ottawa and Montreal, 6 and 8 hours away from me. So through technology,
Yep.
we have a central call center that answers all of our calls from my founder locations as well as franchisees. Because, when someone has a raccoon or squirrel, ruining their biggest investment of their life and they pick up the phone, they want to talk to somebody. They're ready to buy. And we want Skedaddle to be the brand that's out there.
Okay, so you got corporate run call center up in Canada, trained your employees, trained, right?
Exactly. I've been training, 34 years. There's, when no one wants to grow up to be a raccoon catcher or squish bugs or hang Christmas lights. So I have had to train. My corporate locations, I have over 100 employees, so I've had to train every single one. So we've used that training module to open that up to franchise development. So everything now is trained remotely. You have to come to Hamilton for a week, minimal. If you want to stay longer, we're glad to have you, and get you trained so you can hit the ground running as a franchise owner.
Okay, what's your Canadian empire doing in sales?
Our Canadian empire, we're probably close to about 15 million in sales, which that's. It grows every year. I'm the founder, the entrepreneur. Has a great team of people, whether it be chartered accountants that work for me, business development, people with MBAs that work for me to help grow the business. But every year, double-digit growth, for 30 years. And the accountants say, "Bill, I've never seen this in my life. What are you doing?" It's animals keep multiplying, cities keep growing,
recurring revenue, and keep having babies, babies running around. But it sounds like you're doing it right. Like you have a successful business, you scaled it yourself. 100 employees, 15 million. Stretched across, huge geographic areas, proven, it doesn't really get more proven than that, right? That you have done it yourself. And then now it's, how do we teach other people how to do this? And now it's like California, Arizona, right? Like now it's like, how do we get people all over in different, geographic areas that probably deal with different problems, but like you've got this proven model.
Right, exactly. And, sometimes we'll get on calls with franchise consultants and they'll say, well, what about snakes? What about alligators? And what? If it's underneath a structure, it's the same principles, whether it's a skunk underneath a structure or a snake or a mouse or a rat or a raccoon, it's the same thing because most of our revenue is generated by animal proofing structures. We're very unique. We're kind of, I like to say what Uber did to the taxi industry is what we're doing to the wildlife industry. Most people in our call center gets anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 calls a day. Most people that call us, so those 1,000 people think, I have a squirrel in my backyard, I have a skunk, trap it, take it away, out of sight, out of mind, problem solved. And that's what most of our competitors are doing. We don't do that. We do a hands-on removal. We'll pick up the babies, reunite them with the mothers on the outside, and then we animal proof that structure. And the homeowner gets a lifetime guarantee. So, anyone who's looking at getting in this business, you don't need any experience in dealing with animals or anything like that. We train everything. You have a good attitude. You want to be a successful entrepreneur, a successful franchisee. That attitude is going to take you a long way because we have all the training and everything in place to make you successful.
Okay, so one of the differentiating factors is not only the removal in a humane manner, but the prevention so that the raccoon doesn't get again into the attic or wherever it's at.
Right, exactly.
You're saying a lot of competitors don't necessarily do, which is they grab it, they roll like on to the next one.
Right, exactly. They're just moving animals around, and I'm like, well, why would you do that? That animal in a 2-block radius.
They want the business. They want the business. Again.
Well, they're defeating their business because in a 2-block radius, there's anywhere from 15 to 50 raccoons, and they live in 7 to 10 homes. So why take that raccoon that is in your house out to the country where studies have shown 70% don't survive? You have to look for more dense sites, food sources competing with other animals. When they stay in a neighborhood, they have these multitude of den sites. That's how these animals are flourishing in our cities. So, we get them out, we animal proof your house. We'd have to be crazy to spend all day because typically a job takes 6 to 8 hours for 2 men. Average price per job is anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000. depending on how good the franchisee and their sales staff are. That animal is going to make us more revenue in that neighborhood. And we have marketing plans already in place for those neighborhoods because it's already been down the street in somebody else's chimney. It's already been, a block over underneath somebody else's deck. So, they're here to stay. We're well past the time where let's get rid of all these animals in the city. It's too late. They've overrun our cities.
So you get a raccoon out of my house, and then you go to the neighbors and say, "Hey, there's a high likelihood that there's another raccoon denning in your attic. Like, we'll give you a free inspection or I don't know, some sort of like pitch to get them in." And then you're trying to a bunch of houses in the neighborhood. Is that the idea?
Right. Yeah, we'll do some marketing in those little neighborhoods, and a lot of people say, "Well, I've never had a problem." Well, look at your chimney; it's wide open. You're just waiting for a bird, a squirrel to fall down that chimney, a raccoon to live in that chimney, you have vents on your roof. At the very least, let's animal-proof your homes because it's a lot cheaper to do that.
So you'll get up there, you'll put the cap on the roof, or whatever the need is.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So then, what is the mix between? So you've got these 5 different services, right? We got wildlife, pest control, Christmas decorations, attic restorations, and you're looking at mosquitoes. What's like the mix between them?
Well, probably what cash flows the quickest is the wildlife control. You're doing a job for 6 hours, 8 hours, and your revenue is $2,500, $3,000. Our material cost is about 6%. So it's mostly just labor. That's our biggest expense. You can run this out of you initially start out of your garage. Our Ottawa and Montreal operations that I own, we have 10 and 15 service trucks in those areas respectfully. And we run those out of storage lockers. Our staff take their truck homes, they're in their neighborhoods, they're marketing. So most of our revenue, I don't know those exact breakdowns, would be wildlife.
Yeah, sure.
Pest control is more reoccurring revenue, where you get homeowners on a 4 seasons program. You're out 4 times a year for about $1,200. So it's a slower ramp up. Christmas is very, very lucrative. And same thing, our dollar value, we don't decorate anything under $1,500. So if we were to decorate your home, make it beautiful, the most stunning home on your street, year one, you're about $1,500 in product. But we have a 75% renewal rate. We're not selling the product. So if you're spending $1,500 year one, you're 15 every year. You're $1,500. We have customers that have been with us 10, 15 years, and revenue just keeps rolling in on that. We'll do. My operating companies right now, my founder location, we'll be doing over about $1 million this Christmas season just in Christmas decorating.
Okay. And then, so then do the franchisees add these other services as they kind of feel that the other one's slowing down a little bit, or that they think now that they've kind of got this down and then they're going to grow? Like at what decision point did they decide? Because it dilutes their focus a little bit, right? You have 5 different things versus 1 or 2 things. How do you coach franchisees on when do they make that decision?
Right. We look at it very closely. Some of our franchisees are booking, 2-3 weeks out, which, as a franchisor, I'm saying, get some more trucks on the road, get some more people hired, and I'm good.
2 to 3 weeks to get a raccoon's not good, right? I imagine you want to be there tomorrow, right?
Exactly. That's exactly right. People don't wait. And
I would be, if I was the customer, I'd be like tomorrow or keep calling, right?
So it's walking that balance, and the franchise operators, get some more vehicles on the road, hire some more staff. As you're getting into staffing up, you're getting into Christmas season. The Christmas actually helps you grow your wildlife portion of the business because, in the northern climates, we get cooler weather. Business and wildlife slows down a little bit, but you can hire. Say you hire 10 staff to help with the Christmas decorating. You hire them in September. You start decorating in October, November, December, January, February. You take the lights down, and that rolls right into the peak baby season when our phones ring off the hook when babies are born. So
in the springtime,
you have 10 staff. You can say, okay, maybe I only need 5. You got pick of the 10, the 5 best that are most motivated. They learn the culture of the company. They know how to use ladders. They know roof safety, and you hit the ground running to maximize your most profitable time of the year.
Yep. And then mosquitoes make sense, right? You got a short window in the summertime, right? And that's a recurring revenue, and obviously a very competitive business. But if you got the relationship with the homeowner, it makes for an easier transition. Is that the idea?
Exactly. When, we say we take a squirrel out of someone's home and, oh, do you like Christmas decorations? Then we decorate their homes. Oh, you got attic insulate. Your attic's ruined with insulation. Oh, you see some ants and spiders. Oh, you're having a party this summer for a wedding. So, the perfect customer, does all 5 revenue streams for us.
Does the attic restoration require additional like equipment? I mean, because they got to suck out the stuff, they got to blow in the insulation, right? I'd imagine that's a whole separate like rig, right?
Right, exactly. So there's a little more capital outcome to get into the attic insulation. But those can be some big ticket items, $5, $10, $15,000 jobs. And the beauty of that is in the US, a lot of times that falls under the homeowner policy. So they'll cover the cost to restore the attic back to the previous state before the animals damage the insulation. So all these leads are just sitting there for a franchise operator to capitalize. And
okay.
I'm a firm believer that people like doing business with people they like. So, if you've done a great job with the wildlife, you got ants, you want to deal with it, you want some Christmas decorating. So it just kind of all starts feeding into each other. Basically, we're selling time in a truck. We don't care if we're hanging Christmas lights, squishing some ants, or getting some baby raccoons out of an attic. It's time in a truck. Keep those trucks busy.
And it's the same kind of labor pool, like the same employees kind of get cross-trained, or do you guys have guys that are like only do, one or two things?
Some are cross-trained. For the wildlife and pests, it's a totally different mindset. The pest control it's hit and run. You're in there, you're doing some spraying for some insects, you've got a route, you're, hitting 10, 15 homes a day, versus a wildlife job where you're there all day. So it's a different set for pests versus wildlife, but all the other service lines, we kind of mix and mingle. We'll even pull some of our pest technicians off a job and say, you're not climbing a ladder. There's some bushes, some shrubs, some trees to decorate. You stay on the ground and decorate. And it's amazing, the Christmas business, that, every year we think we have enough staff, and every year we're pulling everybody off of wildlife or everybody off pest and say, we got to get these lights up because
is supply chain a problem? Is supply chain a problem in that? And like getting the lights, I've heard at least during COVID, it was a big problem. Is that kind of easier now in terms of getting the inventory, storing the inventory, all that?
Yeah, we do a massive buy in January. All the product comes from, I believe most of it comes from China, gets shipped into the US. Then we have to ship it to our franchise locations in the US or ship it up to Canada. So we place a huge order, and, you get some discounts. We pass out all those discounts on to our franchisees. So there's no real supply chains with that. Now, Christmas is a funny business. We'll get people phoning today wanting a 60-foot tree, which, a 60-foot tree could be $60,000, could be $300,000, but you have to order that, back in the summer. Like, it's like, sorry, you're a little late. And people think it's only November. Yeah. There's not even Thanksgiving yet. What do you mean it's late in the game?
The
biggest supply issue is getting better, and we're almost there, is the vehicles. We have franchisees that are, waiting for their vehicle to come in. And just lately, it's been the ladder racks that go on top. There's a shortage of that, but we're working through that process. And the beauty is that we have over 100 service vehicles on the road at my founder locations. That when we're getting rid of an old vehicle now, we're taking the old ladder racks off so that our franchisees can get that truck on the road and start making revenue as soon as possible.
Yep. How many franchise locations do you have now in the U.S.?
There's 2 in Milwaukee. There is 2 in Maryland, and we're just going to be training and onboarding our 3 locations in Minnesota. So we've got some good traction going. We have some good people coming through the pipeline in Austin, Texas, and Washington State, as well as we've just finalized registration in California. So couple of leads there we're working. So we're trying to get some traction going. We want to make certain we have good people coming into the system. I'm a firm believer you have to like people that you do business with. You can sit down and have a beer with. So we're kind of choosing who we bring into the system.
Yeah. Does California have additional licensing requirements for franchisees for this type of work?
Yeah, every state's a little different, so we'll work through that process with each franchisee, whether it be getting their pest control license, if they have to give any licensing for wildlife. Every state is different. So
and you work. That's all part of the onboarding process. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, we're gonna hold people's hands and get them through that, get those licensing, get them trained properly. So they're gonna be successful.
we have a lot of listeners here from California, and California is notoriously one of the most difficult states to do business, and especially when it gets into the trades. Every single thing, like power washing, they require a license to like power wash. It's crazy, right? And so it's always good when we find, service-based businesses that have kind of not a huge amount of, administrative work to have to go through to get rolling. So
and the beauty of option. California does have a lot of laws and regulations, especially with the pest work, the amount of products you can be using. But it's nothing compared to what we have to go through in Canada, where the regulations are so much more stringent. And when I talk to people in California, it's so hard. Nothing. Come to Canada and see what we have to go through up there. But anyhow,
so I would like to take this a little bit different. So I want to talk about your corporate locations a little bit. So 100 employees, fragmented, across the state, 6 to 8 hours away. So I want to talk a little bit like the operations of that. So like, what's the structure look like? Like, do you break it up into different territories? Like, do you have like a territory manager and like people? Can you walk me through like, what does the structure look like, at those locations?
Right.
That are spread out.
Right. Our locations that are 6 to 8 hours away, the corporate locations, there's a general manager that oversees those locations. He also oversees our call center. And then in each of those locations, we have general managers, supervisors, then technicians and technician assistants or apprentices who are learning the ropes and looking to expand and get in a service truck themselves. So, those managers all report into the GM. There's VP of operations, director of training. So there's a whole hierarchy of structure that we have in place that, anyone who's coming to buy, be that Empire Builder in the U.S. and have locations across the U.S., I've already done it. And I did it, in the old days.
So walk me through, what is it? So I buy Philadelphia and, I don't know, New Philadelphia, whatever. What's this to say, Philadelphia? How many territories, how big are the territories?
Territories about roughly around 500,000 people.
500,000. All right. So Philly's 4 million people, let's call it. So let's say there's eight or so, or 10. Let's say there's 10. So there's 10 territories. What would be your advice on kind of that corporate structure in terms of kind of like the hierarchy of, managers to technicians to vans? Like, walk me through kind of like, how do you, whiteboard it out of what that org structure looks like once it's like fully matured and open.
Right. So probably the best example is what we did in Toronto. Even though Toronto is an hour away from my corporate stores, Toronto's our biggest city in Canada. It's getting 4 or 5 million people. We didn't want to go in one service truck. And same thing, it's 10 territories. We didn't want to go in one service truck and slowly build. So from a corporate standpoint, we put a huge investment in there. We wanted to treat it as a franchise location to prove that we can show this concept is growable in a major U.S. city.
Yeah, at scale. So it's a scalable
business
model, right? And it's not chucking a truck.
It's not chucking. We're not chucking the truck. That's every one of our competitors is chucking a truck. So, well, not everyone. I shouldn't say that. Paint the brush up. But, so we hired a general manager and a manager. The general manager has never been on a roof. He's not going to be chasing animal. She is working on growing the business, hiring. The manager is out there overseeing his supervisors and his field staff, and it just keeps growing and growing. And we've only been in Toronto 5 years now, and that operation, she's already grown it to over. I think we're at 23 service trucks and over 5 million in sales in 5 years. So we've proven that it is doable. So if someone wants to buy all of Philadelphia, or someone wants to buy all of Cincinnati, 6, 7 territories, it's scalable. And our general rule of thumb is the population, if your territory is 1 million people, you buy 2 territories, 500,000 each, 1 million people, minimal, you should have $1 million in sales in wildlife. You add on the pest control, add on the Christmas, the attic restoration, the mosquitoes. So if you're not doing
like $1 per population or whatever.
Minimal.
Something like that.
Minimal. If you're a franchisee, you're not hitting that. We have some franchisees that are 2.5 per person.
Okay. Yeah.
So once again, we're going to work with those franchisees that are underdeveloping and grow it with them.
And then a truck can produce roughly 200, 225, 250,000. It sounds like, based on 23 trucks on 5 million.
Yeah. We typically have, the rule of thumb is one sales truck could feed 2 technician trucks. So if you have one salesperson out there making sales, he needs to feed 2 service trucks to keep it viable and growing.
Okay, so you've got the service, and the tech's going to have a tech and then some sort of like apprentice, right? Who's kind of learning the business.
Correct.
And then you're going to have the salesperson who's the ones going to the home, who's pitching here's the value of why we're going to do preventative maintenance and blah, blah, blah. And then hopefully cross-selling them into other services, right? And then the techs come and do it. And then what's the supervisor? How many salespeople, like what's the structure between the supervisors and the salespeople or the technicians, or however it's structured?
Yes, we have operations manager who basically deals with all the technicians. So I'm talking from my corporate store, the corporate location.
Yeah, corporate. Yep. Corporate.
Right. So we have a operations manager. He's got 4 supervisors underneath him that he deals with all the supervisors, operations managers. Then we have a sales manager, and he has 7 or 8 sales people underneath him. So he's maybe he's out in the field, going to a couple of job sites, helping sales guys out. Maybe everybody gets in a rut once in a while. Okay, what are we doing wrong here? Let's refocus, that type of thing. So that's kind of the general.
So you break it up into sales, and then operations, and obviously they're working together, but different skill sets, different styles of management, right? Probably different needs there.
For different needs in that, right? And then same thing with we have a marketing team, so we have a manager of marketing and oversees whether it's SEO, content production, videos, all that type of thing.
So talk to me a little bit more about the marketing, right? So you guys do the marketing for the franchisees?
Yes, we will give them a plan. Nowadays, dating myself, in the old days I was in 75 yellow pages, but we made the switch to online, and our website and the content we're generating. We actually generate more hits on our website from America than we do Canada, even though we're marketing in Canada. Just the population base in the U.S. and Google is serving us up because we get a lot of media attention. Anyone who's looking at a franchise, maybe they're in Nashville, we can pull up and say I'm just hypothetically pulling a number here. 10,000 hits from Nashville last year, and we're not servicing that area. So, we'll come in and help the franchisee with a local SEO program to get them launched, and then ongoing basis we'll help with them. And it's a real art because are people searching raccoon in roof, raccoon in attic, raccoon in soffit, raccoon problem? How do I get rid of raccoons? So we know all these keywords. And we can pull the levers, if a franchisee is booking his technicians a week out, he can call our corporate office, hey, slow down on the advertising, turn it off. I'm booked solid for next week. Or, geez, I got nothing on my day tomorrow or the next day. My technicians aren't busy. Let's ramp up the marketing for a week or so.
24 hours or whatever.
Right. And then there's different birthing seasons when raccoon babies are born, when squirrel babies, when skunks, when bats, when birds, when ants are prevalent. So
then you're targeting marketing based off of, and is it will it be like geo based? Obviously Arizona might have snakes or whatever. Maybe don't have as many raccoons or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, exactly. We can target it based on geographic, based on the time of season, based on the most profitable animal. Skunk work is very labor intensive. We have to dig trenches a foot deep and a foot wide. So, your profit margins aren't as big as that. Sometimes we won't, in busy time, we won't even market for skunks. We'll take.
What do you do? You build like a French drain, and then you dig a moat around the house.
Exactly. Yeah.
Around the property.
Not the property, like around the shed. Say a skunk is living underneath a 10 by 10 shed.
Okay.
We have to go all the way around that 40 feet, dig a trench a foot deep, a foot wide, put our screen in to make it skunk proof. That's a lot of labor.
So we can't. Okay, so you put the screen in, then you fill it back in.
Backfill it in, so the skunk can't get back in.
Backfill it in, okay.
So that's a lot of labor versus bat work, which is sealing up any crack or crevice the size of a dime. Usually it's around the soffit, the entire home, which is we can do a skunk job for $1,500. It might take us all day versus a $5,000 bat job where we're sealing up would take us 6 hours. So we'll say, we don't want that skunk work. Let's go get the higher margin and let's.
Can you just charge more, or is it like people won't pay it? Is that the problem? for the skunk work.
We can charge more, but there's more revenue to be made in the bat world.
In bats.
Especially, and bats are very time specific because the bats are flying for a short time. In Philadelphia, bats are active. Right now, they're getting ready for hibernation. So it's like, you got to get them out because they're going to hibernate. They're going to be in your walls all winter. Our hands are tied. Let's get them out now. So
yeah, that makes
supply
sense.
And demand.
And then you probably want to say yes to everything that you can do. Like if you say no to the skunk because you're not going to make money, then they might not call you when they have the bat or the more profitable work.
Right. Our successful franchisees are going to find a way to make that happen. That I'm going to go hire somebody. Maybe they're hiring somebody part time. You're going to be digging trenches for me. You're doing our skunk work. The more not highly skilled jobs, you can get lower qualified people. So you can ramp it up. So if successful franchisees, they're not going to let that $100 job slide through their fingers, let alone a $2,000 job.
Yep. What's it cost to open up a territory?
Typically, our franchise fee is $49,500, so just under $50,000 for a territory. Yep. Typically, there's about $25,000 in startup equipment, ladders and our screen and screws and small power tools, that type of thing. Stuff. Yeah, and then we look for another maybe $25,000 in capital that is available should they need it. So we find it's very, very low buy-in, especially when we have
100K, 500K population, right?
Yep.
So that's one territory. Obviously, if you
want
to have an empire, you build this. You buy it all a Philly, you scale it like you talked about, right?
Yeah, discounts for 3-packs and 5-packs and what have you. So, very low buy-in, and especially when you can get a large bird job, like say a large. I won't know by name, but a large retail store. We have a national account in Canada, a retail store, home improvement, where birds are in the ceiling, defecating all the product, where we go out and net the entire ceiling. And those could be $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 jobs. So I don't know many franchise that are out there that you could have one sale and you can cover your franchise fee. Skedaddle, that could
That's happen. Right. And I guess you coach them all that. So like I'm the franchisee, I get the thing with Home Depot or Lowe's or whoever it is. And I'm like, how the hell am I going to like quote this thing and like do it? Like I'm assuming you guys walk through how to quote, how to execute on all that. Like exactly. A random thing like that.
We've done it. We've seen everything. So we want our franchisees. We say there's no stupid questions. If you don't know something, put your hand up, call us. My job, I have staff that have been with me 20, 25 years. We're get slowly transitioned to be nothing but franchise support. So phone, we will help you. We will work on the quote with you. We will give you the quote. We'll even, if you need help, we'll fly our bird expert down to help you out and get this job completed and train you. So
the bird guy.
Yeah, we're.
How do you secure the netting? Is it you get like lifts? How do you secure the netting?
Yeah, there's lifts. There's articulating booms we'll use. There's guide wires, and you clip it all in, and it's a real science.
Wow.
And
no wonder it's 30, 40. I mean, I can imagine the amount of work and safety precautions and everything going into a job like that.
Yeah, exactly. These retail stores, they're trying to sell a product. You don't want to buy a product that has bird droppings all over it, right? So they have to do something. So, so we have a whole commercial bird team. We have a commercial pest team that does, large factories and shopping malls and movie theaters and that type of thing. So that we have that team to help.
Is national accounts like a part of the business, at least maybe in Canada and I don't, soon to be in the US, that you guys go and establish some of these relationships?
Yes, especially with the pest control, commercial pest control and commercial bird control. We were working on large, national accounts. We want to grow our footprint.
Yeah, you got
obviously the more locations. First. Yeah, so we're getting there.
Yeah, but I could see this as being pretty attractive as the go-to for whoever, that they've got one call they can make and you can take care of everything. Pest and wildlife related.
That's right. We want, one-stop shopping. We want to have those services there. Once you're on that doorstep, it's amazing. You make, build a relationship with that homeowner. They trust you. We tend to be in uniform, clean cut. We realize people are stressed when they have a problem, whether it be a spider or ants or skunk. We're their local hero. We were going to come solve their problem for them and give them those warranties so they never have to worry about the issue again.
Yep. It's awesome. Great, Bill. Well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and, quite the impressive business you've built there. And, hopefully, we can help you find some more people who would be great franchisees. So if anybody's listening and interested, you can reach out to me through Twitter, through LinkedIn, email, wherever. I'm happy to get you connected to check availability. It sounds like they've got a ton of open territory here, and as of today, at least in quarter 4 of 2023. And yeah, we'll go from there. Get the introduction and see if it's a fit. So thank you, Bill, for coming on.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Really appreciate it. Yeah, we'd love to have more locations in the U.S. and I'm very competitive, being an ex-pro hockey player, so I won't be happy till we get a couple hundred locations across the U.S.
There you go. Awesome. Cool. Thanks again, Bill.
That's all we got for this episode with the Business with Peers podcast. One thing that would really help both us and other new potential listeners is to rate the show and leave a comment in iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you listen. Also, make sure to link up with me on your preferred social media platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can find all my links at brianbeers.com. Please just share the podcast with anyone who you think might enjoy it. And until next time, remember to take the actions others won't, to live the life that others don't.